of Lord Chaitanya. We have just sung these beautiful prayers by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya entitled Sri Sachi Sutastakam. 8 prayers offering our gratitude and our love and our sincere intentions to serve to Lord Chaitanya, who appeared as the son of Sachi Devi. Much of the devotion among Gaudiya Vaishnavas for the last 5 centuries is in recognizing the relationship of Lord Chaitanya and his mother. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who wrote these prayers, had only met Lord Chaitanya after he had taken sannyas, left home forever. But still, in his praise of the crest jewel of all renunciates, sannyasis, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is especially praising him in relationship with his mother. We know the story. After Lord Chaitanya accepted sannyas just 501 years ago, he left home hours before the sun rose. He didn't tell anyone. But his mother, Sachi Devi, in her motherly heart, with her love, she knew that he was going to leave that night. So she stood at the door of the house to stop her son, if at all possible, from going. And very, very late into the night, early into the morning, Lord Chaitanya left his bedroom and saw his mother standing at the doorway. She knew he was going to leave. She knew there was nothing that she could do to stop him. Because he was not leaving for any other reason than to expand the net of his mercy and love to all living beings. As a family man, people took him to be something ordinary, sometimes criticized him, threatened him. And also he was limited to remain close to his home. But as a sannyasi, as was the tradition, especially in those days, everybody would honor him and offer respects to him. And because he's the Supreme Lord, by offering respects to him, they would become purified, even liberated. Also, As a sannyasi, he could go everywhere and anywhere without any obligations to any mundane responsibilities. Sachi knew the infinite ocean of compassion in her son's heart. And therefore she knew she could not stop him. Of course, in a completely different way, this tsunami that just hit Japan, when people saw it coming, who could stop it? It was literally the power of the ocean. And we see the devastation it did. Even one of the most powerful, technologically, scientifically advanced countries, great militaries, what could they do? Whether it comes to Japan, or Russia, or America, or India, there are forces beyond our control. Most of the planet is covered by ocean. When the power of the ocean comes upon us, what could be done? Well, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Karuna Sindhu. He is an ocean of compassion. But the difference between his ocean of compassion and the oceans of this world is one is finite and the other is infinite. The oceans of this world are not even fractions of drops compared to the ocean of mercy of the unlimited Lord. And when the unlimited wave of compassion comes from that ocean, to reach out, not to destroy, but to liberate, who could stop? Sachi Mata knew this well. She stood like a statue, unable to move as she saw her son. The only movement were the incessant tears that were pouring from her eyes. Lord Chaitanya would not leave without her permission. He asked her permission. And ultimately, although it was going to break her heart forever, she only wanted what pleased her Lord and her son. And she nodded her head to give permission. The Lord bowed down to her feet, in respect circumambulated her, and left. Later on, by the arrangement of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, although the Lord, after taking sannyas in Katwa, was eager to go to Vrindavan, the very ultimate destination of his life, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, who has come to experience, to taste the infinite sweetness of Radha's love. Radha is the Supreme Lord in the form of pleasure potency, the feminine aspect of the Absolute Truth. Just as Krishna is infinite and absolute, Radha's love is infinite and absolute. Even Krishna wanted to taste that love. Radha bhavaduti supalitam nomi Krishna swarupam. So Krishna came with the sentiment and the complexion of Radha in the form of Lord Chaitanya. In the role of a devotee, Srila Prabhupada tells us that 5,000 years ago Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, which culminates in the 18th chapter with the verse Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami masucha. And how to do that? Man manabhava madbhakto madhyashindam namaskuru mami vaishashi satyam te pratijani priyoshime. It is Krishna's promise. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your obeisances to me, and you will come to me without fail. Theoretical knowledge has the greatest impact in our life when we see real-life, practical examples of that knowledge. This is an essential principle. Mahatsevam dwaram ahurvamuktes tamodwaram yoshita sangi sangam. By associating with great souls, hearing from them, serving what they speak, watching them, the doors to liberation open. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. The scriptures declare that simply a moment's association with great souls can open the doors to the highest perfection. Kapila Dev tells us in the Srimad Bhagavatam that performance of so many yagyas, even the most difficult ones to achieve, tremendous charity, tapasya, austerities for lifetimes, elevation to heavenly planets, attainment of mystic siddhis, does not compare in value to a single moment's association with a sadhu. Because they give an example. So Krishna appeared in the role of a devotee to teach by his example, practically, how everyone, anyone, can attain perfection by surrendering to Krishna and always remembering Krishna. In this spirit, his heart yearned to go to Vrindavan, because Vrindavan is none different than Krishna. It is his eternal home. The Vrindavan in this world is none different than the Vrindavan in this spiritual world. But we can only see it through our love. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena. When we see through our hearts what we hear through our ears and how that transforms our hearts, then we can actually see Vrindavan. With our eyes, we may see pollution, trash, hogs. But if we see with our hearts, we actually see the spiritual world, the perfection of everything. Krishna reciprocates, Vrindavan reciprocates with our love, even in a very mundane way. We can use an example. When someone shows you a photograph of their deceased father, you don't know the person, you never knew the father. You look at the photograph and you just think, God, he didn't look nice at all. He looked pretty diseased and old, and that's all you see. But the person showing you the photograph, when he sees that same thing, his heart is melting with love. He or she is remembering all the beautiful things the Father did, all the wonderful love and kindness the Father bestowed. That photo is awakening such ecstasy. Maybe mundane, but it's happiness. And for someone who's just seeing with their eyes, it's just an ugly old guy. The same principle. If we see Vrindavan with our eyes, we see all the, just what's there. But if we actually have love for Krishna, yegatamam prapadyante tam statik, that Krishna reveals according to our surrender. We can see what appears to be just an old tree with a few leaves as a kalpavriksha tree. We could see a skinny cow that's hunting for something to eat and is eating plastic on the side of the Jamuna. We could see it's a Surabhi cow. So can we imagine Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Sri Radha as a devotee, his enthusiasm to go to Vrindavan. But Nityananda Prabhu, he understood that all the devotees in Navadvip, Shantipur, in that area, they were completely bereft of any reason to live after the Lord just suddenly, without saying anything, abandoned them. So Nityananda Prabhu somehow or other devised a plan to bring Lord Chaitanya to Shantipur, to the house of Advaita Acharya, and arranged Sachi Devi, the Lord's mother, and all of his intimate friends and associates to meet him there. And it was there that Mother Sachi saw her son with a shaved head. Gone were those beautiful locks of silken hair and the beautiful robes of silk and garlands and ornaments were replaced with a very drab, simple cloth of a sannyasi. The Lord bowed at her feet and sat on her lap, and she bathed him with her tears. The Lord said, out of madness I left, but now I'll do whatever you say. If you go to Vrindavan, you'll never return. It's too nice a place. Especially in those days. It was beautiful forests. River Yamuna was very wide with pristine, clear water flowing very rapidly. There was no shops. Loy Bazaar was not even conceived of. There was no hoardings, not a single rickshaw. was a forest, and only the saintliest of saintly people resided there. And the Brijabasis were so pure, just living simple, taking care of their cows, plowing their fields, growing crops, but everyone loved Krishna. Sachi Mata requested, go to Puri, because Krishna is residing there as Lord Jagannath, but it's very close to Navadvip. Like 2 rooms in the same house, people come back and forth, so I will hear about your welfare and your pastimes. So to please his mother and his devotees, the Lord made his residence in Puri. In the month of Magh, he took sannyas, came to Puri. A few months later, he did his South Indian tour for 2 years. Then he returned and told his devotees he wanted to go to Vrindavan. They had just been in separation from him for 2 years, and now he wants to leave again. They couldn't say no, they couldn't say yes. And the Lord would not leave without getting their permission. There's a beautiful song by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Tumi Sarveshwareshwara Brajendra Kumara, which means the Lord, Krishna, is the controller of all controllers. He's totally abhigya, swarat. He's all-knowing and independent. The Lord does not require permission from anyone to do anything, but yet he will not do anything without the permission of his devotees in his role as Lord Chaitanya. Just to show his relationships, the relationships of love, are higher than the relationships of control. Many conceive and worship God as the supreme controller of all controllers. Sarveshwareshwara, Ishvara Parama Krishna. All material and spiritual worlds emanate from him. Not a blade of grass could move without his sanction. The supreme controller. But a higher relationship with the Lord is Rasa Bihari. That he is the supreme enjoyer of loving relationships. Although he is the supreme controller, he is controlled by the love of his devotee. It's a higher principle. Another crude example, since we're doing that today. Some very, very powerful politician or powerful businessman may direct armies and governments, or may have millions or billions of dollars with tens and thousands of employees, will do anything they say anytime, and if they don't, they're finished. Yes? Very powerful, controlling position. But when that person comes home to the wife and children, do they really care about that stuff? He says to the wife, I am the controller of the governments, do what I say or you're finished. She'll say to him, say that again and you're finished. And he won't say it again. And if he does, he'll be finished. Because the relationship of love is a higher principle. They don't want to see him as a controller. They want to see his loving, how he's conquered by the love of the wife, conquered by the love of the children, conquered by the love of the grandchildren. And they're conquered by his love. So these human tendencies have their ultimate origin in the divine, in the supreme. So Lord Chaitanya asked permission to go to South India. And then he had asked permission to go to Vrindavan. And they couldn't say yes, couldn't say no. So they, between Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Ramananda Rai, they made a plan. They were both great scholars who understood the vast quantity and quality and essence of all scriptures, and they applied their intelligence in a practical way. The conclusion was they told Lord Chaitanya that Rath Yatra is coming up, so you should wait till after Rath Yatra. After Rath Yatra, they said, there's still the rainy season. We should wait till after the rainy season. Janmashtami and so many things. After that, Kartik is here, and there's Govardhan Puja and other festivals. And there's the Vijay Dasami. You shouldn't go now, it's not good. You should wait till after the festival. Then there's Dola Yatra, Holy Festival. It's very nice, you should stay till after. And then he said, can I go now? I said, well, but Rath Yatra's coming up. In this way, 2 years, they wouldn't let him go, bound by the ropes of his love. And finally, he took Ramananda Rai and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya by the hands, embraced them, said, I'm yearning, I'm longing to go to Vrindavan. Why are you stopping me? Please let me go. And they realized, Samsiddhir Haritoshanam, ultimately the only thing they wanted was to please him. He said, yes, you go, but we'll go with you. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, on the day that Ram defeated Ravana, Dasera, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left and went to Bhuvaneshwar. First he went to Jagannath's temple, early morning, and asked Lord Jagannath in the temple for permission. And the pujari gave him garlands and Mahaprasad as an expression of permission. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought some Mahaprasad of Jagannath and started going. And his devotees were with him. They came to Bhuvaneshwar. He went and worshipped Lord Shiva at Bhuvaneshwar with great love and devotion. Then they came to Kathak, to the Shakshi Gopal temple. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his devotees danced and performed kirtan, singing the holy names. And then they sat in the courtyard of the Gopal temple. At that time, Ramananda Rai arranged for King Prataparudra to appear there. Now I'm going to go back a little so we could best understand what's about to happen. Following in Lord Chaitanya's footsteps, with your permission. While living in Jagannath Puri, just before his departure, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on a full moon night was sitting on the shore of the ocean, looking out at that beautiful ocean. For some time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees were performing kirtan almost all night, every night, on the shore of the ocean. And the ocean was very happy. In the same way that Krishna enjoyed Yamuna in Vrindavan, and Nimai enjoyed the Ganga in Navadvip, now the ocean was enjoying the same pastimes of love. And Vrindavan Das Thakur explains how even Mother Ganga was very swiftly going to the ocean, recognizing her good fortune and eager to mix her waters within to serve Lord Chaitanya. During those days in Puri, Gadadhar Pandit was the Lord's constant associate. Practically day and night, they were together. And Lord Chaitanya would take Gadadhar Pandit to different devotees' homes every day. And every day Lord Chaitanya would come to Gadadhar Pandit's place, the Tota Gopinath temple, to hear Gadadhar recite the Srimad Bhagavatam. He recited the Bhagavat Purana with such faith, such love, that as he would be reading and discussing, tears would flood from his eyes. And Lord Chaitanya's eyes would do the same. It was the Lord's daily regulation to spend about 3 hours discussing Srimad Bhagavatam with Gadadhar Pandit. Another special devotee was Swarup Damodar Goswami, who had just come to Puri after the South Indian trip of Lord Chaitanya. As Lord Chaitanya was irresistibly attracted to Gadadhar Pandit's discussion of the Bhagavatam, he was irresistibly attracted to Swarup Damodar Goswami's kirtan. When Swarup Damodar Goswami would chant, he understood the innermost feelings at every moment of Lord Chaitanya's heart, and he would sing the kirtan perfectly corresponding to that. There's a beautiful explanation in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat of how Swarup Damodar Goswami was singing a kirtan, and Lord Chaitanya was dancing through the small lanes of Jagannath Puri. And he would become so absorbed in the holy name that everything of this external world was completely forgotten. And as he was dancing, he jumped in a well. And everyone in Puri knew that for years and years, this particular well, which was way deep down, had absolutely no water in it. And he just jumped in it and went all the way down. People were beside themselves in grief. What happened to the body of our beloved Lord? They ran and ran to the well, and when they got there, they found that right up to the top, the well was filled with fresh, creamy butter. And Lord Chaitanya was comfortably laying in the butter. Even material nature was facilitating everything for the Lord. But that was the power of Swarup Damodar Goswami's kirtan. And there was another devotee named Paramananda Puri, who was a very older man. and who was a godbrother of Lord Chaitanya's guru, Ishwara Puri. And regularly Lord Chaitanya would go to Paramananda Puri's home. Paramananda Puri, his special feature was meditation. He would do silent meditation, but in his meditation, Krishna would reveal his eternal pastimes to the heart of Paramananda Puri. Not only was he absorbed in meditation, but he conquered the Lord by his meditation. Lord Chaitanya would sometimes say, I have come to this material world simply to give happiness to Paramananda Puri. Because of his love and his devotion, because of the love and devotion of his meditation, I am his property forever. One day he asked Paramananda Puri, you have a nice well in your ashram. Is the water good to drink? Paramananda Puri shook his head and said, the water is horrible. It's very bitter, and it's filled with mud. When Lord Chaitanya heard this, he looked into the well and saw it was muddy and polluted like anything. And he cried out, "O Lord Jagannath, why have you done like this? You are a miser." The Lord could say that about himself. He said, you know that anyone who touches, drinks, or bathes in the water that has touched Paramananda Puri is going to be liberated with pure devotion. Therefore, you have allowed Maya to come in and not allow anyone to want to come near this water. Then he raised both of his arms and he said, "O Jagannath, grant me this one benediction, that the river Ganges will perfectly and directly flow into this well." Then he said goodbye to all the devotees and went to Gambhira, his residence, and everyone went home. But Mother Ganga followed that order. The next morning, when people woke up, they saw that the water in Paramananda Puri's well was pristine clear. It was like nectar. It was a great miracle. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself came with all the devotees and they saw Paramananda Puri fainted. Lord Chaitanya bathed in the water, drank the water, distributed it to everyone, and said, anyone who touches this water will get the same effect as the perfection of bathing in the Ganges. Will get love and devotion to Lord Krishna. These were the Lord's pastimes in Vrindavan, in Jagannath Puri. When he decided to leave, as was explained, all the devotees wanted to come with him. In fact, everyone wanted to come with him. And Lord Chaitanya happened to see Gadadhar Pandit in his entourage going to Vrindavan. And he said, Gadadhar Pandit, you cannot go. Everyone else was going, but you cannot go. I said, why? Because you have taken the vow of a Kshetra sannyas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains what Kshetra sannyas is. It's when a person who lives in a holy place and worships a particular deity in that place makes a vow to never leave there. Sometimes renunciates, or even sometimes householders husband and wife. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says it's the most suitable type of vanaprastha. To never leave the worshipable deity of your life and to stay in that place. So the Lord said, you are worshiping Gopinath. You cannot leave his city, Puri. You must stay back. And Gadadhar Pandit said, but I'm coming with you. Because wherever you are, that is Puri. He said, but what about your worship of your deity, Gopinath? Who's going to take care? Gadadhar Pandit said, to hell with this Kshetra sannyas. By seeing you for even a moment, it's equal to worshiping Gopinath tens and millions of times.